Now, it's been a couple of years ever since we actually saw The Rise of Skywalker in theaters. Can you believe it's been well over 3 years now since the sequel trilogy came to an end? Now, given that Daisy Ridley has been a lot more talkative and direct to the Star Wars fans, she's also been teasing and hinting at a quite, number of things about her return to the Star Wars franchise as well. We already know that she's in the talks with John and Dave behind the scenes for an upcoming post-Episode 9 series that's going to really kind of pick up numerous years after Episode 9. We'll be talking about that a little bit later. But when it all comes down to Daisy Ridley, we know that she's been more open about telling the truth and giving out her honest opinions on her actual stance on Lucasfilm as a company, what went down behind the scenes during her time on Episode 9, and exactly where really things are going. Now, the thing right now is that we know that Lucasfilm is going through a very transformative state. We know that Bob Iger and the Disney board are now in a phase of desperation and damage control. They're firing a lot of creatives at Lucasfilm and hiring new ones to take their place and to really kind of just fill in those roles. And there's more to that story as well. We might even touch on that a little bit later. But one thing about this that really stands out to me has a lot to do with what Daisy Ridley had to say about Lucasfilm, J.J. Abrams, Kathleen Kennedy, and Mark Hamill, and a lot more. And how there was just always this big struggle between different people at the company. So, one thing that I think a lot of fans need to know is that Lucasfilm has been by far the most toxic working environment in the film industry, from what it sounds like. Now, with that being said, we already know that everything related to Daisy Ridley is an ever-evolving process, and right now Disney and Lucasfilm are preparing to make big announcements that are going to expand the roadmap greatly for the years to come. Both John and Dave have been developing multiple shows at once. However, it's described that Daisy Ridley recently engaged in an interview where she talked more about her time at Lucasfilm. She went on to state the following to the fans. When I was working on Episode 9, there was also some kind of dilemma or issue the studio was dealing with at the time before we started the reshoots. I will never forget that we had all these flashbacks of Luke that we had planned. Even JJ was excited to put them into the movie. It really was like these compilation of scenes that showcased Luke's life throughout the years, leading up to the point of the sequels, and it was so heartbreaking when Kathy came knocking on the door and went through some of the test footage and said, yeah, we have to get rid of this, it's not going to work. This is too long, number one, and the audience is not here for Luke, they are here for the new characters. Let me pause here for 1 second, guys, before we get on to the next thing. Obviously, Daisy putting it out there that Kathleen Kennedy's true motive is that she really just wanted to phase out the Skywalkers at will. Not because of the story, not because it fits the plot. She just literally wanted to rid of the Skywalkers once and for all. And this really kind of puts things more forward about all of that, is that you had a series of flashbacks of Luke Skywalker, going throughout the ages, showing us his journey to becoming a Jedi Master, all these great things. And then you have Kathy coming in, checking out the test footage according to Daisy Ridley, and saying that it was too much, it was too long, and that she had to get rid of it because the audience is not here for Luke, that they're here for the new characters. Now, guys, let's be honest. I get it, it's the sequels, they were focusing on a new cast, I understand that, but when you promote these movies, kind of like surrounding the original cast and using that as a specialty to draw the audiences in, yeah, I think a good percentage is going to want to go in there and see Luke Skywalker in Episode 9. And that just barely happened to be the case. We only got him as a Force ghost, and that was it. We got him in a little flashback, by the way, but that was, the only thing that Kathleen Kennedy allowed. That was like her one condition, is that she allowed JJ to insert one little actual flashback that would serve the plot of Leia, and that was it. Now, the thing about this, too, that really just goes to show you that J.J. Abrams did try to make this work. He tried to make this happen, and it wasn't really his call to delete all these Luke Skywalker flashback scenes. Moving on. So on to the next thing here is that, of course, Daisy Ridley puts it more forward that by saying, I remember JJ and Kathy getting into an argument about all of this, and it eventually led to her deleting those Luke scenes altogether. It was saddening, really, because I saw it in Mark's eyes, and he had to just deal with it. And believe me, what we actually shot was quite remarkable stuff that I would have made the fans scream. But right now it's all locked up in a vault somewhere. It was very emotionally driven, these series of scenes. 100% I will say that. Now, before I get to the next thing on this, we can obviously see that Daisy Ridley is expressing enthusiasm about what she saw for episode 9. So we were supposed to get these, like, amazingly well-shot flashback scenes of Skywalker going throughout the ages and really telling, like, his own past. And that's when the movie was going to be longer than what it was in the final cut, by the way. They did cut it down quite a bit, by a good 20-some minutes, and that kind of really left out a lot of opportunities for Luke Skywalker. Now, before one of the cuts, they had so much footage to deal with that even Chris Terrio said, let's perhaps make a part 2 of this story and kind of work from there. Chris Terrio wanted to do that. He brought it up to Kathleen Kennedy, and Kennedy just shot that idea down right away. Now, I can understand, like, maybe it would break the overall structure of a trilogy format. I could see and maybe understand it that way because it's Star Wars, and we've never seen Star Wars do a part 1 and part 2 before. But I think that they could have done something unique, perhaps, where maybe they could have just considered it a one movie and just split off the next half later on at some point in time in a different year, and then just release it all combined on a DVD. They could have easily done something like that. They wouldn't have had to call it a part 2 per se, just a continuation of episode 9. But anyways, you know, that could have been their marketing plan if they really wanted to embrace that. But overall, the thing about this too is that this just goes to show us that Kathleen Kennedy does not like Luke Skywalker. She already deleted him from Skeleton Crew, by the way. We talked about this, of how Mark Hamill was initially signed on to do a very special scene. He actually did not want to work with them anymore, so he walked off. And once he walked off, they got a replacement actor to portray Luke using the upgraded CG technology and the deepfake technology combined. And that, of course, ended up not even becoming an actual thing because Kathleen Kennedy tossed the whole Luke scene from Skeleton Crew. So once again, it just goes to show you that she will only use Luke if it serves some kind of, like, purpose to draw the audiences in and to trick the audiences into watching other material. I guess she found out that that wasn't working, and she just got rid of Luke in the long run. So obviously, Luke is so well cherished. I think that John and Dave did an excellent job in Mando Season 2, and of course in Book of Boba Fett, and they will continue to do very well in Ahsoka Season 2 that's currently in the works, as well as Mando Season 4, which, by the way, is going to be very Luke heavy. Anyways, fill me in, guys, below on what you think about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Gun in hand, we are alone again. No hiding from night to